The Voge DS800X has been around for a long time. Quite a while, actually. And it has been selling in the European market for some time now. I heard they've already sold nearly 10,000 units. So, this bike has been in mass production for a while. The price will be announced tomorrow, everyone. Take a guess at the price. Will there be a pleasant surprise? As for this engine, I filmed it back in 2023. After seeing it at the Chongqing Mobo Fair, finally. This year, 3 years later, we can see the actual bike. The clutch used is a slipper clutch. Looking at it, this clutch is definitely made by Chongqing. For this type of engine, the requirements for the clutch are quite high. Let's take a look at the clutch plates. It uses Japanese FCC, paper-based friction plates. Chongqing's large displacement. Clutches are usually configured this way. Since this engine appeared in 2023, you can estimate its R&D cycle. Research and development cycle. It must have taken at least 4 or 5 years. This is the standard speed for engine development in the industry right now. Let's look at the main shaft bearings. They are using Japanese NTN bearings. This engine is equipped with 2 oil pumps. The one we are removing now is the first one. Now let's look at the rear balancer shaft gear. It uses a scissor gear structure for noise reduction. The one in the front is also a balancer shaft. It also features a scissor gear design. So there is one balancer shaft at the front and one at the rear. A dual balancer shaft design. Pulling out the clutch pushrod. This engine uses a hydraulic clutch. Among domestic multi-cylinder engines, it seems this is currently the only one with a hydraulic clutch. Removing the cylinder head cover. Let's first look at the timing chain tensioner. It uses a hydraulic tensioner. This tensioner looks compatible with KTM parts. Since BMW shared screw technical specifications and suppliers with Lonson, have you noticed that in recent years, the engines produced by Lonson use the same screws as BMW? Let's examine the camshafts. The camshafts are made of forged alloy steel. This is the intake cam. Now let's look at the exhaust cam. The exhaust cam is also forged alloy steel. And it's equipped with a decompression valve. This decompression valve design is the same as the BMW F850-900. It's an identical design. It uses finger followers, rocker arms. The rocker arms have a DLC, diamond-like carbon, coating. Now, look at the valve springs. The camshaft, rocker arms, and valve spring assembly clearly show elements of BMW's twin-cylinder design. Next, let's look at the timing chain. It uses a Japanese did chain. As for the timing gears, they are from Chongqing Duobao. Removing the cylinder head to see the valves. The material of these valves appears to be the same as the Voge 900 or the BMW 900-850. They use the same materials. Looking at the cylinder material, it is a centrifugal cast iron sleeve. Also, this engine is equipped with an oil cooler. Back in 2023, when I first saw this engine, I actually thought it was a clone of the Yamaha MT-07 engine. But looking at the teardown now, they are definitely different. As you just saw, the cylinder head structure is essentially a reference to BMW's twin-cylinder. Since Lawson and BMW have such a deep partnership, some technical sharing is perfectly normal. Let's look at the stator coils. The coils have a layer of protection. The copper wires are not exposed. Here is the second oil pump. They advertised a dual pump system, and that has been confirmed. Now, let's remove the oil pan. It features a dry sump design. Currently, among domestic engines, and I mean domestic Chinese engines, this Voge 800 is the first to use a dry sump system. There's a coarse strainer inside. The filtration system of this engine uses 2 coarse filters and 1 fine filter. The fine filter is the oil filter cartridge. The coarse ones are the one we just removed, and this other component here. These are the 2 coarse strainers. If you've watched this far, please give us a like. The advantages of a dry sump include higher ground clearance, which improves off-road capability. Also, during aggressive leaning or wheelies, you don't have to worry about the engine losing oil pressure. Those are the 2 main features of a dry sump. Now, splitting the crankcase. Let's see the internal structure. The lower crankcase houses another balancer shaft. This layout reminds me of the BMW twin-cylinder. If you saw my previous teardowns of the BMW 900 or 850, one of the balancer shafts is also in the lower case. The front balancer shaft uses bushings, plain bearings. The previous one used ball bearings on both sides. Removing the countershaft. Now let's remove the connecting rods. Take a look at the rods. From this, you can see they are fracture split, cracked, connecting rods. Look at the rod bearings. This middle section isn't scored. See how it's smooth and reflective? Those are normal wear marks from initial startup. This is why you must properly brake in a new engine. The bearing surface has a very soft coating. Even touching it with your finger can leave a mark over time. Let's check the brand of the bearing shells. They use Dato Metal, Japan, copper-based bearings. Normally, as soon as new bearings run in a started engine, the surface will show some marks. See, this one has them too. Let's look at the crankshaft. It's a forged alloy steel crankshaft. The crank pin offset is 270 degrees. This crankshaft is produced by Jiangsu Gangyang. Now, look at the pistons. The piston skirts are coated. The piston crowns have undergone micro-arc oxidation. Also, this piston skirt design is something I've never seen before. Look at the exhaust side. The skirt is relatively wide. Now look. At the intake side, the skirt is much narrower. It's more obvious from this angle, right? I'll remove the connecting rod. The piston pins also have a DLC coating. Now you can see it clearly. The exhaust side skirt is widened to improve piston stability and thermal conductivity. It's designed for better stability. The intake side is narrowed to reduce friction. and improve fuel economy. Let's look at the main bearings. The crank also uses Japanese dado copper bearings. The piston rings are from Riken, Japan. Alright, we've finished the full engine teardown. Overall, the build quality is quite good. Dual oil pumps, dry sump, and a hydraulic clutch. Dual balancer shafts and asymmetrical pistons. Forged alloy steel camshafts, plus a decompression valve on the exhaust cam. These are all highlights. The cylinder head and balancer structures are referenced from BMW. And the fracture split connecting rods. Generally speaking, this engine should perform very well. Vogue, could you use this engine to make a naked street bike? Regarding maintenance information for this machine, I recommend using 10W50 viscosity oil. For an oil and filter change, it takes 2.8 liters of oil. You can use Shell Advance Ultra or the higher grade Shell Power. Let's play the engine sound for you to hear. The sound performance is very clean. Alright, that's it for this video. Thanks for watching.